Stevens. Zach, are you ready to admit that there's no such thing as an easy football game in the NFL?
Absolutely not. But what I will say is something that Sean Payton said after the game. There's no escaping wins. There are wins and losses in the NFL. There's no apologizing for wins. The Broncos are 10-2. And guys, what I'll tell you about this game, I don't know how fans are feeling about this game since I've just been in the Broncos locker room following the game. But I'll tell you what, this is the game where the vibes are officially all in on a Super Bowl, and the Broncos know it. And it starts with Sean Payton. His confidence is 100%.
Oh, no.
Nik Bonitto.
Okay.
Am I frozen?
All right, you're back. You're back.
You're back.
Am I back? I'm
Keep
back.
cooking.
Okay, so guys, it starts with Sean Payton, where he fully believes that this is a Super Bowl team. Bo Nix believes it. In fact, Bo Nix had an incredible quote after the game. He said, we didn't come here to be 10-2. We didn't come here to have a good record, the best record in the NFL at the end of November, beginning of December. We came here to do this in the postseason, in January, in February, and that is the right mindset to have, and that is the mindset that these Denver Broncos have right now. They're 8-2 in one-score games, and you know what Sean Payton would say to that? That's what Super Bowl teams are made of. Not that they're just squeezing by wins. No, that is how you win Super Bowls. Benny, your Super Bowl 50 team, that's the last time the Broncos won an overtime game, was with that 2015 team, a tested team.
Was that a Sunday night game against the Patriots, right?
It was. No, there was a second one that year. It was against the Bengals in overtime, I believe later.
That's the night I met my wife.
Monday Night Football.
That's the night I met my wife. December 28th, 2015, baby.
Dang.
Maybe someone on this team is going to meet their wife because the Broncos are staying in D.C. tonight. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like. In fact, Club Dub guy, Sean was asked a lot of questions just about like how much Sean believes in this team and if these close games are good. And Sean 100% believes that these close wins are good. He pointed to his 2009 Super Bowl team with the Saints and said that team had so many close wins, and you have to be battle tested. And there's only a few teams in NFL history that just blow by their competition year in or game in and game out on their way to a Super Bowl. Most teams have to do it by just grinding through games, and that's exactly what this Broncos team is doing. So Sean believes that. Bo believes that. And Club Dub was popping in the locker room. Sean was asked, well, what was Club Dub like? I could feel Club Dub, so I could tell you that it was a great time. And Sean said, you absolutely enjoy every single one of these because they all mean so much in the NFL. And he said everyone is enjoying this. And so that is how Broncos country should be feeling. The Broncos are 8-2 in one-score games. Guys, since 1997, the Denver Broncos, this is the fifth time that they have been 10-2 or better. Or they've actually started the season 10-2. 3 of those times they went on to win the Super Bowl. The fourth time before this year, they went on to, that was the 2013 best offense in NFL history. That has some good news written on it for this Denver Broncos team because all of those teams went to the Super Bowl. 3 of those teams won the Super Bowl, and this Broncos team is eyeing for that right now. In fact, one of the last questions Sean was asked after the game was, so Sean, at 10-2, are you guys aiming for the number 1 seed? And Sean said, and I quote, that's the silliest question I've been asked. Of course we are. And of course they are, because right now they are the number 1 seed. Tomorrow night, everyone in Broncos country is going to be cheering for the New York Giants, but for all intents and practical purposes, the Broncos control their destiny for that number 1 seed. And what an incredible win that the Broncos got. And they didn't escape. They got the win.
Zach, tight ends were very involved in this game plan, and specifically Evan Engram. Did Sean talk about how involved or, all of the targets that were going towards Evan today?
Yeah, boy, this was by far Evan's best game, most impactful. He made the play when it mattered the most. And one drive, he had 3 straight catches. Another drive, he had that massive catch and run. And, guys, that catch and run was what we saw in the preseason game where he had that 80-yard catch and run. That is what Evan Engram is for. And I hope this is the game that he gets unleashed because we saw how special he can be. And, man, did I just love seeing that Joker role being played tonight. How nice that was. Now you guys are probably okay with hearing the word Joker since we haven't heard it for a long time, but he could be a key piece down the stretch for this Broncos team. Adam Trautman also coming up with the first catch of the game, also having the key catch later in the game. These tight ends came up big for the Broncos. And what I'll say that Sean did talk about in terms of what did and didn't work for the Broncos offense, the running game, guys. Yes, RJ Harvey had 2 touchdowns. Yes, he and Alex Singleton were the 2 guys to get the Sunday Night Football game ball after this game, but the run game did not work tonight. The both running backs struggled on the ground. Sean Payton said that's a credit to the Commanders' defense because they completely changed everything that they had done this year for the Broncos. And typically, teams have been able to run in nickel on the Commanders, and the Commanders completely changed their looks. The Broncos had no idea that they were going to do it. So he said it was more of a credit to the Commanders for the Broncos not being able to run the ball as opposed to the running backs not playing well. He very much defended both Jaleel and RJ Harvey after the game. So that made me feel a little better because now it's 2 games without J.K. Dobbins where the Broncos have not been effective on the ground. Sean's saying there's a little out for this one. So let's hope that's the case because the Broncos are going to need the ground game if they want to make a deep playoff run because, man, Bo, once again, put the team on his back, and this game was won through the air, over 300 yards for Bo. I thought he played an outstanding game. Sean Payton called it a fantastic game. That throw at the end of the first half, that touchdown to Court was incredible. Bo said about that play, it's a game of inches. It's always said that it's a game of inches, and boy, wasn't that a play of inches right there. He said, I was almost down, but I wasn't down right there. So Broncos ground game, I feel a little better about it after hearing that from Sean, but they got to make sure that they don't face that in the weeks to come.
Zach, I feel like Club Dub might be spilling out into DC tonight. I feel like you should join them.
Oh, I wish. I have a flight in 4 hours that's an hour away, and I got a ton of work to do. So let's hope I make that. If not, then I'll be joining Club Dub at 5 a.m. I guess.
I was gonna say I think the bars close out there at 3, so that's just in time for you to get out to your flight. Was Sean asked at all about the rotation at cornerback? There was a moment in there where it looked like Riley was healthy and they brought in Chris Abrams-Drain.
Yeah, and at first I thought Riley was benched, and it didn't really make much sense because he was playing a fantastic game, a clean game. Those punching or those boxing gloves that he wore in practice to prevent him from holding worked. And yes, he was asked about that. He did clarify about that. It seemed like he wasn't 100% sure, but the answer that he got to was that by bringing Pat back in, they wanted to keep the other guys in game shape, is the words that he used. So they wanted to get Chris in there for a series, and that's kind of what it boiled down to. I think Chris played 1 full series, and that happened to be the series that the Commanders scored their first touchdown on. So that's the answer we got after the game. I'll be curious to see if that at all changes and we get more information throughout the rest of the week, but that's what he said initially, was that he just wanted to keep Chris in game shape right there.
Bo seemed to be really confident, really poised throughout this game, over 300 yards passing, and then specifically in overtime. What did Sean or what did Bo say just about the overtime plays, going 4 for 4, 71 yards, and then RJ punching it in for a touchdown to solidify the game?
Well, when you ask me this question, Benny, I just get a big smile across my face because that's exactly Sean Payton's reaction to Bo Nix in this game. We know Sean absolutely loves Bo, and boy, did he love his performance in this game, specifically in overtime, specifically at the end of the half. Sean Payton mastered the end of the first half very well. The Broncos wanted to play defense to start overtime, so the coin flip did not go their way, and they still took advantage of it. They went all the way down the field, got an easy touchdown, like you said, and then all the pressure was on the Commanders to get that touchdown. And it was credit to Bo because the running game was pretty non-existent here, and he put the team on his back. Outside of that one interception, which we did not get clarity on, I just have to imagine Bo just simply did not see Bobby Wagner because it was thrown right to him. But outside of that, he played a really, really good game, and Sean was thrilled with him. He said he's getting better and better each week, and that's what we're seeing. And I'll tell you, after the game, Bo was unbelievably confident, not just in himself, but in his team. And he said, I've been a part of a lot of special teams, and this one is up there. I think in a couple of weeks we're going to hear him say this is the most special team that he's been a part of because, man, guys, I'll tell you, that's my biggest takeaway from after talking to Sean, after talking to Bo, after being in the Broncos locker room following this win, is this feels like the game where the Broncos know that they can win the Super Bowl this year. They've had feelings of it in the past, but this is the game that I think they're walking away from, and they're saying, yep, we are a legit Super Bowl team, and they can start seeing themselves hosting that Lombardi Trophy in February. That is the sort of vibe that we had in the locker room following this game. This was a special win. So I know some people might be saying the Broncos escaped. There's no escaping, as Sean Payton would say. This is the win that kind of takes them over the top for these final 5 games of the regular season.
Zach, last one for me. We were very close to it not being a fun night tonight. But I don't know if you know this. Earlier this week, I saw Nik Bonitto at Zoo Lights, and we were at the giraffe exhibit, and he channeled his inner giraffe and made himself as tall as he possibly could to save the football game. What was the reaction in the locker room to Nik making that game-saving play?
First off, I have no idea if what you just said is true or just a really good story.
No, it's 100% true.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like looking,
something.
I was like, wow, those are some crazy animals. Giraffes are a wild animal. They are a wild animal, but they also are just a crazy thing to look at. And then I looked right, I was like, oh, that's also Nik Bonitto right there.
Wow, that's amazing. But I'll tell you
Also
what,
a beast.
This final play was amazing as well. And it started before the play even started. The Broncos were in a zone blitz right before Sean Payton called a timeout. They recognized that they wanted just a little bit more time to see what the Commanders were doing. They called the timeout, and Sean gave Vance Joseph a lot of credit for changing the blitz. They were going to bring a blitz, but it was going to be a zone blitz. They changed it so that it was a man blitz, and there was going to be a free rusher, and that free rusher ended up being Nik Bonitto. And Nik said that he saw Mariota just drifting back, just trying to buy more time. And he said at that point, he knew it was over. Pat Surtain after the game said, yeah, the peripheral of my eye, I saw that there was a guy wide open. So thank goodness that Nik made that play. And boy, Nik tweeted after the game and then told us as well that he's a little bummed that he has the cast on, because he said it would have had a game-winning sack earlier in the drive, and then he would have taken that back for a pick 2 to end that game right there. So an incredible call by Sean to call the timeout, an incredible call by Vance to change that up, and then an incredible play made by Nik Bonitto, because we were one Nik Bonitto PBU away from, as you said, Ryan, this being a very different conversation following the end of the night. But big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and that is what the Broncos continue to do. This is a team that no one wants to face right now and throughout this entire season, because the Broncos started the season 0-2 in one-score games. They're 8-0 now in their past 8 one-score games. They've won 9 straight. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC West. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. They have the best record in the entire NFL, and they also don't get beat at home. And right now, that's what the Broncos have, is that home field advantage. And they also have that confidence and belief that they will be holding the Lombardi Trophy in February.
No more questions from me besides the fact that RK and Sean are always continue to be on the same page. I was like, why would they call a timeout right there? I feel like you don't need to do that, and they call a timeout, and then Sean and RK are clearly on the same page. But yeah.
Zone would have been a much better call against that play.
But yeah, for sure. Zach, great to see you, bro.
It worked. Great to see you too, guys. Don't think I'm going to make it on the show because of my flight tomorrow, but man, the vibes should be through the roof with the Broncos right now, fellas. And I'll tell you what, the amount of times that the energy was completely sucked out of this building was incredibly gratifying for Broncos country, because there were so many times the Commanders thought they had won the game, and then there was a late flag or something came up, and just the energy was sucked out of the building, and the Broncos were able to capitalize that time and time again.
Love it, Zach. Get home safe. Get a couple minutes of rest or whatever you might be able to possibly get.
Right on. Thank you, fellas. I'll see you soon.